Wikifiends. I'm your host, Joe.
I'm David.
And we are the Wikifiends. We're going to read some articles for you from Wikipedia and then have a chat about it. So the first article I have is Rural Purge. Rural Purge. Have you heard of this before, Dave?
No.
The Rural Purge
of American... TV? It's like a TV thing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Of American television networks, CBS in particular, was a series of cancellations in the early 1970s of still popular rural-themed shows with demographically skewed audiences, the majority of which occurred at the end of the 1970-1971 television season. One of the earliest efforts at channel drift, CBS in particular saw a dramatic change in direction with the shift, moving away from shows with rural themes and toward ones with more appeal to urban and suburban audiences. So it gives a little background, starting with the Real McCoys in 1957 on ABC. U.S. television had undergone a rural revolution, a shift toward situation comedies featuring naive but noble rubes from deep in the American heartland. CBS was the network most associated with the trend, with series such as Andy Griffith's Show, Beverly Hillbillies, Green Acres, Mr. Ed, Lassie, Petticoat Junction, and Hee Haw. Hee Haw.
I need to watch like Hee Haw. Like, I don't know. I've seen all of those except for that real deep shit.
CBS aired so many of these rural-themed shows, many of which were produced by Filmways, that it gained the nickname Country Broadcasting System, or the Hillbilly Network, a play on the network's original self-proclaimed name of the Tiffany Network. By 1966, industry executives were lamenting the lack of diversity of American television offerings in the dominance of rural-oriented programming on all of the big three television networks of the era.
Yeah, noting that huge. Yeah.
Noting that ratings indicate that the American public prefer hillbillies, cowboys, and spies. Spy shows the lingering after effect of the British invasion. CBS Vice President Michael Dann personally hated rural-oriented programming. He nonetheless believed that the programs brought high total viewership and did not care about demographics. Dan's superior, CBS President James T. Aubrey, likewise believed rural sitcoms were a crucial part of the network's formula for success. When Robert Wood, a later president of CBS, pressured Dan to cancel the rural programs, he responded, "Just because the people who buy refrigerators are between 26 and 35 and live in Scarsdale, you should not beam your programming only at them." Dan was forced out not long after. All right, instigation. By the late 1960s, this is a summarization.
Wait, hold on. Let me make sure. So they kicked that guy out because he's like, not everybody's like you in your apartment, dude. Like, was this in the...
It's not. I don't think. No, they're not saying that he was forced out because of that. That's a quote he said, but he was later forced out.
What is the quote again? It's like I kind of don't understand that. Like,
just because the people who buy refrigerators are between 26 and 35 and live in Scarsdale, you should not beam your programming only at them.
Wait, who is in what is people who of that age living in Scarsdale mean? Is he talking about hillbillies? I don't understand what is Scarsdale.
No, Scarsdale's an affluent area, suburb of New York City.
I don't get what he's saying. What is he saying with that?
What don't you understand?
I don't understand what like the subtext or what he's trying to prove by saying that.
He's talking to the president of CBS. Who wants him to cancel... Let me finish.
Okay.
He's talking to the president of CBS who wants him to cancel the rural shows.
Okay.
He says to the president,
okay,
just because the people who buy refrigerators are between 26 and 35 and live in an affluent New York suburb, you should not broadcast your programming shows only to them.
Okay, I got confused because I thought the president was like rural shows are a critical part of our business. Like I didn't realize.
No, that was a previous president.
Oh, okay. So the new president was saying, "Get this shit off." I see. And he's saying like, "Hey, just because everybody lives in Williamsburg that buys a George Foreman doesn't, you know what I mean?" It's kind of he's like defending kind of trash TV in a way, like.
Well, he's not defending it. He didn't like it. He just said that
he didn't like it. Yeah.
He just said that it gets high ratings.
Yeah, it works. Like, what are you doing? Like, yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. I wanted that was kind of like in Scarsdale. I know, like, I had no cultural reference for that.
All right. Well, there's been a lot of interrupting going on, so let me get through this.
It's a funny topic.
As summarized, this is a summarization from Museum of Broadcast Communications. By the late 1960s, many viewers, especially young ones, were rejecting rural-themed shows as irrelevant to modern times. Mayberry's total isolation from contemporary problems was part of its appeal, but more than a decade of media coverage of the civil rights movement had brought about a change in the popular image of the small southern town. Gomer Pyle, U.S. Marine Corps, was set on a U.S. Marine base between 1964 and 1969, but neither Gomer nor any of his fellow Marines ever mentioned the war in Vietnam. CBS executives, afraid of losing the lucrative youth demographic, purged their schedule of hit shows that were drawing huge but older skewing audiences. So that's a quote from Museum of Broadcast Communications.
So they're like, nobody has this easy, and not only that, like come on, like the civil rights movement's happening. We know about Jim Crow.
Well, I believe this is more recent because it's referring to something that happened by the late 60s. It seems like it's a scholarly write up about what occurred.
What's like, but the juxtaposition of like civil rights and then like that fucking Andy Griffith music, like, oh my word, are some good policemen. Like, I imagine it was kind of like a jarring like thing.
It was, yeah. It didn't ring true.
Tone deaf too, I'd imagine. Yeah.
I don't know if it's tone deaf, but I think it's all about tone. It's all about having a nice tone, but it doesn't reflect what was going on. It's outdated.
Yeah. I mean, it's like not intentionally tone deaf. You know what I mean? It was. I actually really like that show.
Yeah, people have high respect for that still.
Please continue.
All right. Although the purge of rural programming began in 1970, it was foreshadowed a few years earlier. CBS ordered a mass cancellation of the network's remaining panel game shows. What's My Line? I've Got a Secret, and To Tell the Truth. The programs were still extremely profitable, due in part to their low budget, but performed poorly in demographics. The network attempted to include more urban programming, including the innovative sitcom He and She in the 1967 season. But a clash with that show's lead-in, Green Acres, led to its cancellation. As a foreshadowing of things to come, He and She would be re-aired in reruns in summer 1970, just before the purge began. The Smothers Brothers Comedy Hour, likewise an innovative and far more successful program that appealed to a young audience, also began in 1967. So the purge was instigated by CBS executive Robert Wood, the man who had the run-in with Michael Dan, who wanted him to cancel the rural shows.
Well, they also like get rid of these game shows. They trash as well, kind of at one point. Like, we need more progressive programming.
Yeah. Well, I'm saying Robert Wood. It was instigated by Robert Wood. he's sort of the driving force behind CBS getting rid of all of these rural sitcoms. Robert Wood replaced longtime CBS programming head Michael Dan with Fred Silverman, following research highlighting the greater attraction to advertisers of the young adult urban viewer demographic. Much of CBS's existing product either drew audiences that were too old and rural or drew another undesirable demographic, young boys who lacked disposable income of their own.
Old chumps and young punks.
Yeah, I guess. All right. Let me skip down. Now, here's another factor in the Purge was the loss of a half hour of primetime programming each night as a result of the prime time access rule, which took effect in 1971. As a result of the new rule, the networks, all of which had started primetime at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time before the rule took effect, had to trim the equivalent of 7 half-hour programs from their weekly schedules and give them back to the local stations. So I guess these big, like the big three, ABC, NBC, and CBS, their national shows, they had to cut a half hour each night of their national programming so that local shows could be aired. Which appears primetime access rule. It was a federal law.
So all the major networks must show public access, essentially.
Well, not public access, but they have to let the regional affiliate have a half hour of their time.
Interesting. It's a good rule. I should kind of like that.
I don't really care for it, but I don't really care either way. So let's see. The numerous cancellations prompted Pat Buttram, Mr. Haney on one of the canceled shows, Green Acres, to make the observation. It was the year CBS canceled everything with a tree, including Lassie. First rural-themed show canceled by Silverman was Petticoat Junction in 1970. Then Mary Tyler Moore Show premiered the following September. And then All in the Family
that's a big
January
switch.
1971 as a mid-season replacement. Both series provided the urban demographic, cutting-edge social relevance, and ratings that CBS sought. These rating successes prompted Silverman and the network to cancel Green Acres, Beverly Hillbillies, Mayberry RFD, Hee Haw, and the Jim Neighbors Hour at the end of the 1970-1971 season, as well as cut short the new Andy Griffith Show, a comeback vehicle for Andy Griffith after only 10 episodes. Another series, the Glenn Campbell Good Time Hour, lasted until the end of the 1971 to 1972 season. ABC was also looking for younger audiences, and in May 1971 canceled shows that skew toward rural viewers, such as the Johnny Cash Show, and older viewers, such as Make Room for Granddaddy and the Lawrence Welk Show. NBC also targeted rural and older-oriented programs in its cuts, eliminating long-running programs such as Wild Kingdom, Andy Williams Show, and The Virginian, all of which had run for at least 9 seasons. It says syndication proved to be a haven for many of the canceled programs. Lawrence Welk's program, a mainstay of television since the summer of 1955, immediately moved to first-run syndication, where it enjoyed an additional 11 years before Welk's retirement in 1982. Reruns of the show began almost immediately afterward and continue to this day on PBS. And that was the thing when I was working at the thrift store. There was an old lady that would volunteer at the register, and she would always go like, "Oh, I watched Lawrence Welk last night."
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Would you watch Lawrence Welk?
No, I'm not even familiar.
It was weird at the time because I know that I had known about Lawrence Welk. I didn't know that his shows were still being run like on PBS. But at the time, Fred Armisen on Saturday Night Live had a Lawrence Welk sketch. So I was always curious as to whether or not she was talking about those Fred Armisen sketches.
You know, that's interesting, though, because even if she wasn't, that's kind of a savvy move by him in a way, because it's like that is what they're showing on PBS right now or whatever. Or what was it? You didn't say PBS. What was it?
Yeah, it was PBS.
It was on PBS. So it's like you could get in, you know, some people watching PBS if you do that skit at the same time. You know, it's kind of showing a little awareness.
Well, I bet it was just a thing like he saw it. He was maybe the writer, or if it wasn't Fred Armisen, was sort of flipping through and saw Lawrence Welk. It's like, why is Lawrence Welk still on TV? You know?
Or like, oh, I can make hay with this. He's a line. Fred Armisen would look good saying that. Like,
all right, let's see here. All right, so it lists some other shows. Let's see here. All right, Soul Train became popular around this time. Hee Haw lasted until 1991. That was one of the rural shows that lasted. But let's see here. And that was in syndication. In syndication, it seems from this article is becoming more and more popular, particularly music-oriented programs. So let's see. All right. So in addition to some of to Mary Tyler Moore and All the Family, some of the newer, more urban variety shows were Carol Burnett Show, which premiered in 1967, and the Flip Wilson Show in 1970. And those allowed for the mass cancellation of most of the now undesired rural shows at the end of 1971, despite their high ratings and popularity. Let's see here. All right, replacement shows. So here's some more replacement shows. Following All in the Family were its many spin-offs, including Maude and the Jeffersons. And the production company in charge of the Mary Tyler Moore Show, MTM Productions, developed the Bob Newhart Show. MASH came on in 1972 and was one of the most popular shows for its 11 seasons. And it eventually aired the most watched single episode of any series in U.S. television history during its 1983 finale. It says here, now this is one we've discussed before, an unusual side effect of the rural purge was the lessening of the laugh track. Most of the rural-oriented programs were filmed in the single-camera setup without a studio audience, with the canned laughter added by laugh track proprietor Charlie Douglas. The newer shows that came to television in the early 1970s were multiple camera setups with live studio audiences, a trend that would become the norm throughout the 1970s and 1980s, with Douglas's laugh track mostly limited to sweetening. I guess that's enough. We can move on from here, but so that was the rural purge.
I didn't realize a lot of westerns had laugh tracks. Like, I kind of want to see that.
Well, I don't think westerns did, but Beverly Hillbillies.
Yeah. Okay.
Green Acres.
I see.
I'm guessing Petticoat Junction. Did Andy Griffith have laugh track?
I wouldn't be surprised if it did.
Yeah. So, I tend to very much enjoy the 3-camera sitcom. So, although I do like Bewitched a lot.
I don't know what you mean. What do you mean the 3-camera sitcom?
3-camera sitcom is it's filmed more like a play. You know, it's in front of a live audience.
Yeah.
And the other is like 1 camera, single camera, which would be like The Office or Parks and Recreation.
Wait, what's Seinfeld? That's 3, right?
I think it's 3 because they filmed on sets, but they also did a lot of like single camera stuff where they would be like on weird sets, weird lots, you know?
Or yeah, they're in the car or something.
I'd say like Roseanne's a really good example because you can definitely tell it's live, or like a home improvement. Yeah, I mean that's very much like a live. I think they even use I'm pretty sure they use the audience for Tool Time is the real audience for Home Improvement.
That's an I could see you doing that.
Yeah.
An easy thing to do.
Mm. All right, well, or like I remember Drew Carey in its final season, it switched from a 3-camera to a single camera.
Oh, it did?
Yeah, it was very odd because they built the sets, like they built all the sets, so it was like. I think they would show them from like different angles and stuff. I'm not positive,
it's
but
really
like
jarring.
it was very weird because like it looked like his home, but then it was like it looked like an actual home and had like actual lighting. It was very odd.
I that would unnerve me because it's like, did they get more money or less money? I can't understand that decision. Like,
I think it was like an artistic choice. But my understanding is that
more bizarre.
my understanding is that it costs more to film single camera.
That's what you would think to build. I don't know. I don't know. I guess you could charge all the people to come watch it. So.
No, I don't think you charge people to come watch it. I think if anything, you would pay them.
Yeah, paid audience stuff. Yeah.
But I don't. It's probably free. I don't think it's a paid thing.
No, it's paid. It's definitely paid. It's
kind of like if you like with the Drew Carey thing. It's kind of like if you're only ever used to like going to being at your work in the daytime, and then for some reason you have to go in at night and it's like empty and all the lights are off. It's sort of like that. It's like it all looks the same, but it looks odd, you know.
Very, yeah.
Or like if you had ever had to go back to school, like at night for some sort of show, like elementary school or whatever, you all had to go to a class show or something, or you were in a class show, you had to go at night. That was odd.
Yeah, it's
like that.
A different perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the whole thing, I guess. Yeah. Now, it's kind of interesting though the shows that came after because it's like oh, you know, we got all this redneck hillbilly shit does real well, but you know there's a lot of our studies show a lot of women and black people watch this, so we better make the Jeffersons and give a lot of Mary Tyler Moore female comedy show. It's like you can see awareness of demographic, like wanting to play with it, like not wanting to stay so safe with game shows and hillbillies. It's like a little more kind of cognizance in the audience.
Yeah, and it seems like it was largely successful. Like they had all these good shows they came out with, these, much, acclaimed shows. I mean, it doesn't really address if they had a bunch of like lame flops, but
it is fascinating to me though. Like, I'm always kind of interested in like low hanging fruit, and it's like, hey, like this hillbilly shit's an underserved market. It's kind of like, it seems like, well, you want to make a buck making hillbilly shit your whole life. It's like, well, you can make it for a little bit.
Well, it seemed like it was a very overserved market.
Overserved, right. But it's like, it's an abandoned market though. It's kind of interesting. Like,
what?
It's interesting because it's like an abandoned market. Like, it's one point that was a gold mine. You show a dude with buck teeth, or something like.
Well, it seemed like they lasted in syndication, right? So like Hee Haw was still on. They could still see their Hee Haw up until 1991.
Yeah. And I would. Yeah.
At which point they could watch Jerry Springer. It's kind of a low blow on my part, but.
No, but like, well, I mean, that pretty much. But like, it'd be interesting to try to like slip in like a new Hee Haw. Well, haven't you seen Rootin' Tootin'? You know what I mean? Yeah, it gets syndicated all the time. Mad commercial pay. Rootin' Tootin'. Like, I'd love to kind of slip in on that because it sounds like a residual market. Like, they still make dough off it.
All right, well, let's move on. Spend a little more time on it than I would have liked.
All right. You ready for my article?
Yeah, go.
All right. I'm gonna do Korla Pandit. Korla Pandit was born in 1621 and died in 1998. And he was born John Roland Redd, a musician, composer, and pianist, organist, and television pioneer. He was known as the godfather of exotica. So, this is the big thing. He was a Missouri-born African-American, but Pandit spent his whole career until his death passing as an Indian. So, here, I'll give you a little, I'll play a little of this. I'll just give you an idea. They call him the godfather of exotica. Essentially what he was is a guy, he could play the organ pretty well, pretty creepily, you know what I mean? And he wore a turban while he did it, and he looked real good. They do his.
Oh, so you mean like a Indian from like Southeast Asian or
yes.
South Asian Indian, not a.
He would wear a turban. He would play a big organ with candles on it and like smoke machines going on, and he would have like a lot of like, Lillian Gish eye makeup kind of thing. You look super dreamy. You know what I mean?
That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. Well, they say he's a big influence on Liberace. Actually, here let me play a little bit of him, and then just to give you a flavor, okay? So,
well, that song sounds familiar.
Well, it's Misery Lou. It's yeah. It's a surf song. It's also an old Mediterranean, Middle Eastern cadence. It's one of the most recognizable things. But you get the gist. So he's playing the organ. He kind of does some kind of more. He does some tricks. He's pretty good on the organ. He's pretty. I don't know if he's
Well, it didn't sound, it didn't sound like exceedingly like virtuosic.
He gets
sounded like more. Some guy.
He gets a little more. He'll do. He'll do some rolls. He'll do some nice stuff. He's a jazz pianist, essentially, you know? That's just like an intro. So anyway.
It sounded good. I'm not saying... it just didn't sound like a guy that would be like the grandfather of pipe organ.
Oh, no, Exotica, though. Exotica.
All right, well...
Wait, hold on. Listen to this part. It's kind of like nice, big dirt.
What song is that? That song is very familiar sounding also.
It's Misery Lou. It's just
that's Misery Lou again.
Yeah.
No, it sounds good. It's not like... It doesn't sound... It's not like something where I'd be like, whoa, you know?
Well, it's like... It's interesting because, like, it's 3 minutes long, but it's kind of him getting in deeper and deeper, you know?
All right. I guess what I'm getting at, it sounds very slow. It does not sound like he's playing it quickly.
No. Well, I mean, I don't...
Which to me would be more impressive.
Well, he's a vibe guy. Like, that's the whole Exotica thing, you know what I mean? Like,
okay. I wasn't aware of that.
Well, it's ambient. Wait, hold on. It's like Exotica is like, it's like, what is it? Airzat exotic. Tropical Airzat. Like, you know, it's kind of like, it's acknowledgedly fake.
Yeah. I'm not saying like... That doesn't clarify. That doesn't like it. It sounds like a guy playing an organ. It sounds good. It doesn't sound like it's very. It's wholly impressive though.
Well, that's the thing though. But it's the overall thing. Like, but if a guy was doing that with looking at you.
So he had gimmicks. His gimmicks were good.
Well, and I mean, I know what you're saying. Like, it's pretty, like, kind of generic in a way. Like, it's kind of like...
I think it sounds good, but
it's generic, though, right? Like, it's pretty out of the can in a way.
That's good. It's just not like... I was expecting like Fast Fingers sort of thing, you know.
Maybe he gets it. I don't know. Let me get into this.
Would almost hypnotize you, you know.
Maybe he does get into that. I was only trying to give a flavor. Hold on. Let me get more into this. So his early career in 21, he was born in St. Louis to an African American family. The next year, his family moved to Hannibal, Missouri, where they lived for 9 years. In 31, the family moved to Columbia, Missouri, where his father, Ernest Red, a Baptist pastor, and his mother, Doisha Onina, of French and African ancestry. Pandit had 2 brothers and 4 sisters, all light-skinned like him. He attended a segregated school and learned to play piano. A contemporary of his, jazz pianist Sir Charles Thompson, knew him during that time. He said John Roland Red was a better piano player. In the mid-1940s, as Juan Rolando, he played the organ on the Los Angeles radio station KMPC, and he performed in various supper clubs and lounges. Performing as Juan Rolando, he was also heard on the Rudy Vallee Show and Jubilee, the program of black jazz and swing bands transcribed by the Special Services of the War Department for airing to World War II servicemen overseas. In 1944, he married Disney artist Beryl June DeBeeson, and the two reinvented his image, eventually replacing Juan Rolando with Korla Pandit, and fabricating a romantic history for him as a baby born in New Delhi, India, to a Brahmin priest and a French opera singer, who traveled from India via England, finally arriving in the United States. So there's the shtick, you know. He came up with his wife later on.
Yeah,
but he was used to kind of pretending with this Juan Rolando shit, you know.
Yeah.
So anyway, or he's passing, I said, essentially.
Yeah, passing as a non-white, as a sort of like an ethnic.
Well, as a non-black, it's kind of like he's probably getting around Jim Crow and shit. It's in Missouri.
Oh wait, he's black?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that part.
He's an African American born in Missouri named John.
Oh, sorry.
Red. And his they say.
But yeah, you said they were both light skinned.
Yes. Well, his father was an African American Baptist pastor, and his mother was of French and African ancestry.
Ah.
So he and his brothers were all extremely light skinned, and it sounds like he was for a while doing this like Juan Rolando thing, which is I'd be kind of curious to know like what that shtick was all about as well. But anyway, so in 1948 he created the eerie background music for the revival of radio's occult adventure series Chadu the Magician, achieving atmospheric effects on the Nova Chord and Hammond CV. In 1949, he was heard on Hollywood Holiday, broadcast from a Los Angeles restaurant. So he did a little work with this magician guy. In television, in 48, he performed in Hollywood at a Furrier's fashion show at the Tom Brennan restaurant. Korla and Barrel met television producer Klaus Lanzenberg, who offered Korla his own 15-minute daily TV show with the stipulation he would also provide musical accompaniment for Time for Benny, Bob Clampett's popular puppet show. So he kind of did a little deal that benefited him. Korla Pandit's Adventures in Music was first telecast in L.A., KTLA in February of 49, and viewers soon became familiar with the musical opening The Magnetic Theme. Landsberg insisted that Korla not speak, but instead simply gaze dreamily into the camera as he played the Hammond and Steinway organ, often simultaneously. Following Klaus's directorial and contractual stipulations, Pandit became an overnight star and one of early television's pioneering music artists. So that's kind of interesting. This whole, like, Klaus is like, don't just look into the camera.
What, do you have a clip of that where he's playing the two at one time?
It says it's in the Magnetic Theme. So that's the one he's kind of big for.
Do you have that?
No. I mean, I could find it. Yeah, I could find that. But what I'm saying, though, is, like, you won't get the full experience until you get him dreamily staring in your eyes while he does it. I guess maybe that's the thing. Maybe he is, like, a slow... he is a slow player, but the whole point is to kind of pull you in. Right, oh, here we go.
Sounds good.
So, blah, 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 blah. His audio works, over 24 albums on 78 and 45, LP and CD. He has a Christmas album called Merry Xmas. That looks pretty crazy. He died in Petaluma, California, of a myocardial infarction. I don't even know what the fuck that is.
Myocardial infraction? Infarction?
It says infarction.
Well, I guess that's what it is.
It's a heart attack, yeah. Fucking heart attack. 2 years following his death, it was revealed in an article by Los Angeles Magazine editor R.J. Smith that Pandit was actually an African-American who'd been born in the United States. So he went to his fucking grave with it, and it was revealed after his death, 2 years.
Now, were people enraged when they found this out?
No, there is nothing about it. Like, nobody gave a shit.
Nobody cared.
It's like, we knew. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, no shit. No, but it kind of did get me started on a thing. Like, he's kind of an interesting guy for all the weird music, but the whole turban thing I found to be kind of fascinating.
I mean, it's kind of like a reminiscent of the sort of like the classic joke or trope or whatever of a all-seeing gypsy, and then she she flubs and she has then she starts talking with like a heavy Bronx accent accidentally.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole kind of like the hell was her name? There's some like famous femme fatale who was just some broad, but she acted like she was this mysterious woman of the Orient. And it was kind of like, it worked for a real long time, but everybody's like, oh, fuck off. You know what I mean?
Mm.
What the hell was her name? She's got Clara Bow or some shit. Like, I don't
know. No, she wasn't. Theta Bara?
No, it's like, she's kind of like a big influence of, like, kind of goth style. I can't even remember what the hell her name is. But it's like
Is it Mata Hari?
Mata Hari, exactly. That's exactly what it is.
She wasn't an actress. She was a
fan dancer, Dutch exotic dancer. Margaret Gertrude McLeod was known by the stage name Mata Hari, right? And she was convicted as a spy and killed in France.
Yeah.
That's right. But it's like it's like about Mystique. Like, he's very much like a Mata Hari in a way. Now, I'll just add this. This is
except he wasn't hanged.
Well, he it's funny because it's like his whole thing was kind of, I think, kind of being just dreamy. You know what I mean? Like, I think Mata Hari kind of kept spinning yarns. You know what I mean? Like, that's what got her caught up.
Yeah.
But he worked with Klaus Landsberg. He's just like, just smile. You look so good.
Well, I guess he would give it away otherwise if he tried to.
Maybe that was it. He's like, dude, your voice, like, everyone's gonna, it won't work. Like, just smile and look at the camera.
Well, I think that's also like, I guess not exactly the same, but like Boris Karloff. I'm not positive, but I think that might be like a stage name, and he was just like a British guy. But he took a weird name because he would play like he played like Frankenstein, and so it made him seem more. It made him seem more like I don't know,
exotic, yeah.
More like more Eastern.
Well, it's kind of an interesting thing because it's like you hear about people that'll like, oh, my last name's Klautzwings, so I'm going to change it to Smith or Stein, and something just quick and American. But then it's like, when you go from that to like, well, I need to throw a little spice on it. You know what I mean? Like, who's going to hire Boris Chadwick? So I was going to tell this. This is off Wikipedia a little bit. It's on NPR, but it's about this black Lutheran minister who wore a turban as like a thing for a similar purpose, but much more petty. He would wear it. Or Reverend Jesse Routet, when he would travel to Alabama, wore a turban and robes and put on an accent, and quickly realized it was quite easy to fool everyone into thinking he was a foreign dignitary, and he was received as one. It kind of went viral in 1940s terms, says Paul Kramer, a scholar. Where the press picks it up, it becomes a colorful story that people are talking. He's not the first person to actually pull this off, so it's not entirely a novelty. He says Roth's experiment began after he traveled to Mobile, Alabama in 1943. It was a similar time, actually. It's like in the 40s, just like...
I guess it's easier then to pretend to be from a different ethnic background.
Well, it's specifically in the 40s. In 1943, he went to a family engagement and he wasn't happy about it. I was Jim Crowed here and there and all over the place. I don't like being Jim Crowed. So when he went back in 1947, he boarded the train to Alabama and he put on his spangled turban and velvet robes. When the train reached North Carolina during lunchtime, Rouet walked over to the dinner car where the only vacant seat was occupied by two white couples. One of the men said to him, "Well, what have we got here?" To which Rouet replied in his best Swedish accent, He had been the only black student at a Swedish Lutheran college. We have had apostle of goodwill and love, and left them gaping. So he just put on a good generic, like foreigner accent.
It's pretty good.
And the confusion.
It's like it's confusing. So you're like, well, I don't know what to like.
It's like the turban confuses them, and then when you talk like a Swede, or something, you know what I mean? Like what the fuck? It's kind of fascinating. And so the confusion seemed to work for him for the rest of his trip. He dropped in on police officials, the Chamber of Commerce, merchants, and he was treated like royalty. At a fancy restaurant, he asked the staff what would happen if a Negro gentleman comes in here and sits down to eat. The reply was, no Negro would dare come in here to eat. I just stroked my chin and ordered dessert, he said. After he returned to New York, Roth said he felt like a paratrooper behind enemy lines. So it's like it's just so fucking fascinating to me.
Yeah, good for him.
It's like through the turban trick, Ruet basically transformed himself from a threat to a guest, from black to invisible.
The turban trick, it makes it sound like it's something like a Bugs Bunny did.
I mean, it's like this is interesting. Like foreigners have an exemption to Jim Crow. They're not going to understand the rules, so they're not going to obey them. It's kind of fucking weird.
I guess that is. I don't know. It's very odd.
I really commend all of this.
Yeah. What was this guy's name again?
What the hell was it? It was it's like he's got I think it's like a French spelling, Root, like Luther Root. No, Jesse Root. Jesse Routte. Root.
And he was a Lutheran.
He was a black Lutheran minister from New York.
Yeah.
And the historian who wrote about this is this guy Paul Kramer. So you can look up him too.
I kind of like the phrase like "getting Jim Crowed."
Well, I mean, it's like in 43, you go down to Mississippi and you're from New York and you're a black guy. It's just like, it must have been just like, I don't even know. Like, that's, I mean, it was really shitty in New York, I'd imagine, but not nearly as shitty as it could be in Alabama.
Yeah. Well, what can you say?
There's this whole thing. It's like a turban turns everyone into an Indian.
But you would think like it would be like they wouldn't like Indians either, right?
Well, they don't even know about Indians. Like nobody.
You think it's more just like it's sort of like a novelty? So it's
yeah. Well, I mean, like it wasn't like the way it is now, where it's you got whole enclaves and they've been here for generations. There probably were no fucking people other than blacks, whites, and some. Various people. They, even if you were Chinese at the time, they'd be like, "Holy shit, you must be from the emperor." You know what I mean? Like they don't fucking know.
You're like outside of big cities.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like Shitsville, you know what I mean? You go down to Mobile, Alabama, in a turban. You must be the king, It's like I don't know. I find something really interesting about like a thing that like blurs like kind of identity like that. Like it's kind of it honestly put me when I read this. I was like, there's got to be a Polish turban. There's got to be something I can wear that like makes people really confused.
All right. Well, anything else?
Nah. I thought that was I really got into that one. That was a fun one for me.
That's pretty good. There should be an overarching false Indian article.
No, I was really disappointed. Had to go off Wikipedia for that turban trick shit. Like there should be a Wikipedia article just on the turban trick. You know what I mean? Like that's a much shit. When you even go on the Wikipedia article for turban, they don't even talk about its use in the United States. It's bullshit.
Yeah. No, I do like visually how turbans look. I wish it was acceptable to. What?
You'd look pretty good for one.
Every time I think about getting one for the summer because I like to have like a large profile hat, but I don't want something that's too hot. So I think like turbans are, but they're not very hot. Like it's breathable.
You should wear one of those like little white ones, like Marukian. It's like the Christians wear those in Swahili Coast.
Yeah, I don't know. I want a big one. I want like a good size. It doesn't have to be giant. It doesn't have to dwarf me, but I'd like a decent size one.
There's the Pagar style in India. That's a kind of like big. It's like a big fucking jug on your head.
I want a gem in the center.
Well, it's like Korla. He had a gem.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Well, it'd
be cool if you had like a thing in it, and then it could do a trick. Could do some sort of I don't know, like a big puff of smoke comes out of it, and you can disappear.
Well, I recommend you don't take anyone's culture for novelty, but you should definitely. You can make some kind of hat that fits loosely. Some of these shit look like witches' hats, though. Like, I don't even know if you can call these turbans.
All right, well, I'll move on to my next article. Let's see here. All right, the next one I have is it's recalled comics. All right, this is a list of comics that have been recalled for various issues. All right, the first one is Action Comics number 869, a November 2008 issue. DC Comics Action Comics 869, the penultimate issue of the Brainiac story arc, was recalled by DC Comics for cover content. The original cover depicted Superman in civilian attire with his S shield clearly visible and his adoptive father outside the Kent farmhouse drinking what appears to be beer. DC issued a statement to retailers that the issue was recalled and that any copies featuring the original cover be destroyed. The next week, DC reprinted the issue featuring a cover in which the label on the bottle was changed to read Soda Pop. So that's kind of like a no big deal one. Superman's dad was drinking a beer on the cover.
What did they say they would do to? What was the threat? Like,
oh, there's no threat.
Oh, okay.
They just ordered that they ordered a recall so that they were
stop selling these immediately. We made a major mistake.
yeah, essentially. All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder number 10. In August 2008, DC Comics All-Star Batman and Robin, The Boy Wonder was a mature reader's comic in which street thugs used profanity. However, DC did not want this language to actually appear in the book, so the text was placed in the speech bubbles and then blacked out. However, in issue number 10, slightly different shades of ink were used in the two elements, leaving the vulgar words just readable.
What were they? Like,
just various swear words.
Oh, okay.
So they were like a redacted strip, I guess, was placed over them, but because of the ink, you could still read what the word was.
It's interesting they printed it anyway. Yeah.
They didn't know until someone noticed it. There was an issue with the ink, so it appears that it was a thing they were doing in other comics, but for some reason they used the wrong ink, and nobody realized until it went out to store shelves. Follow me?
Yeah.
All right.
It's funny.
Quote from Frank Miller, and this is kind of a lame quote. "This is the first I've heard of it. I have no idea how this awful thing happened. It's just one of those terrible and glorious things that happen time to time in publishing. And my first reaction is simple. I want at least 3 copies."
Yeah, it's too bad you a bitch. Yo, I like that yellow bastard. I like Summit Sin City, but he's still a bitch, though. Not even politically. I thought he was a bitch before all the political stuff. Honestly, like all that tough guy garbage. Go fuck yourself.
All right, Elektra, Volume 2, Issue 3, in November 2001. Marvel Comics Elektra appears nude in a shadow in some fairly tame images.
Fairly tame.
Yeah, that's sort of a big whoop. Elseworlds 80-page giant. August 1999, DC Comics in Kyle Baker in Liz Glass's story, Letitia Lerner, Superman's babysitter, the super toddler climbs into a microwave. When Paul Levitz, the president of DC Comics, objected to this portrayal of the infant Clark Kent, most copies were recalled and pulped. The offending story went on to win an Eisner Award and was reprinted in DC's Bizarro Comics collection. All right, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, Volume 1, Issue 5. In Issue 5, Volume 1 contained an authentic advertisement for a Marvel brand douche from the early part of the 20th century. This ad caused DC Comics executive Paul Levitz to order the entire print run destroyed over concern that this could lead to litigation with their main rival, Marvel Comics.
Douche?
Yes. Was there a follow-up question?
What, Marvel had its own douche? Like, what do you mean it would cause a rivalry? What are you talking? I thought he wanted it cut because they're like, we aren't selling douches anymore. Pulp this shit.
No. This is DC Comics.
Yes, that's what I heard.
Let me read it again because it sounds like you're not following.
They said they had an ad for a douche in the comic.
I'll read it again. Issue number 5 of Volume 1 contained an authentic period-added advertisement of a Marvel brand douche from the early part of the 20th century.
A Marvel brand douche?
Uh-huh.
So it had a douche named Marvel.
Yes.
So the problem wasn't that it was a douche. The problem was it was named Marvel?
That's correct.
Okay, so it's like, get that douche out of here. But leave the other ones in.
Now I'll continue. This ad caused DC Comics executive Paul Levitz to order the entire print run destroyed over concerns that this could lead to litigation with their main rival, Marvel Comics. None of the recalled comics were ever distributed in the U.S. However, a small batch had been shipped to the U.K. and escaped the destruction. With only 100 thought to exist, this makes it more than 10 to 20 times rarer than the Elseworlds 80-page giant that Paul Levitz also recalled, and is probably the rarest modern comic book in existence. Damn. So do you get what happened?
Yeah, I do. That is so stupid. We should make those.
Make what? Make douches?
Well, no, forgeries.
I see.
That is so pathetic. I loved it. It's like, there's a Marvel douche in this issue. Cut the.
No, well, you didn't want to get sued. Have the company get sued.
I wish he would have let it run, and they did lose a lawsuit over that. That'd be the dumbest shit in the world.
Well, I guess it was a smart business move then.
If that happened, it'd be so pathetic.
All right. Alan Moore in Top 10 created a miracle douche recall headline on a newspaper in poking fun at the situation.
It's funny. It's funny.
Yeah. All right. The Matrix comic book preview, March 1999, Warner Bros. From March 1999 from Warner Brothers. This comic was especially printed for the cinema audience for the film of the same title. However, the content was deemed too mature for cinema audiences, and it was withdrawn and pulped. This comic, although recalled, retains a low value. All right, let's see here. All right, Star Wars: Return of the Jedi, from May of 1983. Marvel Comics, as reported in Comics Buyer's Guide number 497, from May of 1983. Actor and comic book fan Mark Hamill discovered copies of Marvel Comics' comic book adaptation of the Return of the Jedi film on sale a month prior to the release of the film, and alerted Lucasfilm. According to Marvel's direct sales manager Carol Kalish, Marvel swiftly recalled the book off the stands upon learning this, though it did not prevent premature revelation of many of the film's secrets.
That's kind of sick, though. Like, that seems almost slightly intentional. Like,
really?
Yeah, I mean, it's like hype. It's like hype shit.
Like intentional on Lucas's part or intentional on Marvel's part?
Whoever handled the distribution at that point, it was probably
So it was Carol Kalish's fault.
It was no. Listen, like
it was her intention.
The guys who put it out were given the go ahead. Like, yeah, fuck it, put it out. You know, somebody said, yeah, fuck it, put it out. And I bet it was probably a Lucas guy. I guess. Like, I bet someone's like, yeah, just tell him to put it out early this month. You know, like, it's like
I don't know if that's. Maybe someone disgruntled,
or like someone savvy.
Why is that savvy? I don't understand why that's a good move.
I mean, it's like movies get leaked all the time, like or plots. Like, it's not even the movie; it's a fucking comic book.
Well, it's a comic adaptation, so it revealed everything that happened in the movie.
I think it's probably a good move.
All right, I don't see how it could be.
Why not? It causes hype.
I think there was already enough hype going around for Return of the Jedi. If anything, I would lessen hype because you find out how it ends.
But there's a leak. Oh shit! This shit was leaked. You know,
I don't think anyone. I don't think that both. I don't think that the mere fact that it's a leak will cause a surge in interest.
This is an interesting debate, though. Like, do you think a leak causes, like, is it a good marketing move? If a movie's coming out that's highly regarded,
some leaks can definitely surge interest, but not all leaks. Not in this regard. Not as a blanket statement that a leak will cause a surge in interest.
I actually think people are pretty good at their jobs. When something like this happens, I immediately suspect the P.T. Barnum.
You suspect malice over stupidity, going against the old maxim.
Almost 5 times out of 10.
Malice
is just as likely as ignorance. That's how I feel.
All right. Well, I disagree with that, but I'll continue. All right. Let's see here. Universe X Spidey #1 from January 2001 Marvel Comics. This alternate universe Spider-Man book was recalled after it was discovered that artist Al Milgrom had hidden slanderous comments about former Marvel Comics editor Bob Harris within the issue. On page 28, panel 3, the spines of books on a bookshelf in the background read, Harris, ha ha, he's gone. Good riddance to bad rubbish. He was a nasty, blurred SOB. When the comic is turned sideways. The comic was distributed to retailers as part of the First Look scheme, in which retailers get to see a copy of next week's issue, but then recalled and pulped when the slander was spotted. Milgrom was fired and then quietly rehired several weeks later.
Oh, that's good. That's good, at least. See, that's bullshit. He did nothing wrong.
I guess morally he didn't do anything wrong, unless he like lied and said like you didn't put slurs in this, slanders in this, did you?
Clearly, his employers saw that he did nothing wrong either. So,
well, it seems like they're acknowledging that he did something wrong, but they're undoing that acknowledgement by quietly rehiring him.
Y'all think he did something wrong. We don't. We fired the dude. I don't know. I've been the go away and come back.
All right. Well, they're trying to save face by firing to look like they're tough, so that they can't, so that they won't appear weak to other people. But then they're
he's the most qualified guy.
I guess he was just too valuable.
Get out of here. See you in 2 weeks.
All right, and then the final one, Wolverine number 131 from November 1998 from Marvel Comics. This issue featured a genuine error where instead of the word killer, the anti-Semitic word kike made it into Viper's description of Wolverine's arch enemy Sabretooth.
Is he Jewish?
I don't think so. Is Sabretooth Jewish?
He might be, dude. Isn't Magneto Jewish?
Do you think... I don't know.
I'm gonna look that up. Hold on. Sabretooth. Let's see what the Marvel Wiki says.
What does it say?
Hold on.
His real name is believed to be Victor Creed.
Someone definitely was fucked up when they said that. Yeah, okay, sounds like... Yeah, okay, hold on, here we go.
So this is another malice one where you think they intentionally wrote the word kike?
Nah, his real name is Victor Creed, aliases Der Schlatter, the Butcher in German, Slasher, El Tigre. His birthplace is unrevealed. As an adult, it sounds like he's from Canada. They're saying he's a Canadian.
Wasn't Wolverine also from Canada?
I don't know. Blow your vape out. Ask me again. Wolverine. No, it says, and by the 1910s, he was known by this name in a small Canadian frontier. So no one knows where he's really from, but he was known as early as 1910s in Canada. One of the few exceptions who were unintimidated by him was a young man named Logan, whom Sabretooth had sent superhuman abilities similar to his own. So it's like Sabretooth exposed Logan to this.
Logan is Wolverine.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
Yeah, no, it's Logan was exposed to the life by Victor Creed.
Okay.
I know you like me. So he could, I don't know. Okay, so anyway. So
but you do not.
Wait, what?
You do not suspect malice in that one.
Let me hear it again.
All right.
You don't have to say it. Don't say it. Just tell me what it is.
Don't say what?
The K word.
Oh, I don't care. It's written down. The issue featured a genuine error where instead of the word killer, the anti-Semitic word kike made it into Viper's description of Wolverine's arch-enemy Sabretooth.
Dude, that's me. It was Viper supposed to be like a Nazi?
No, they're saying it's a genuine mistake.
How could you get killer confused with kite, though? That's way too big of a fucking mistake.
Well, maybe the guy that lettered it made a mistake, but maybe he was just thinking of the word kike.
Dude, that's like a huge fuck up, though.
That happened to my friend Michael, who you know is Jewish. A person where he was working, whose first language was not English. She was, I believe, she was Chinese. She sent a email to him that began, "Hello, kike."
What the fuck? What the fuck's your problem?
Well, she meant to write Mike.
Oh my God. I mean, but he must have known and laughed his ass off when he saw that.
Yeah, I don't think he was mad at her.
No, but because it's from a person who spelled your name wrong. And he spelled your name wrong in a very fucked up way. Like, that's ultra rare. Like, all right, hold on. So, who is Viper, though? Jordan Dixon? This sounds like a guy that would call someone.
No, Viper, it appears as a woman.
Madam.
Her real name, Ophelia Sarkeesian.
Hold on. So it's Madam Viper. I don't know. This one's hard to... I don't know, dude. This one seems pretty malicious, but at the same time, like, unfocused maliciousness.
So you think the person genuinely wanted to write kike instead of killer?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I do.
Well...
Someone thought they could be slick. They thought they'd get hired back.
Well, I don't think anyone got fired.
Well, it doesn't sound like it.
No.
It wasn't in the original script. He said it was killer in the original script.
Yes. But it made it out. It made it out in the world, so...
I know, that's... Somebody okayed that. Anyway, moving on.
Someone just didn't read it close enough. The letterer made a mistake. The inker made a mistake. And...
QC. Missed it.
Who?
Quality control.
Oh, quality control. I guess.
I don't know, dude. When was that? When was that one released?
1998.
98.
You think they let it go through on purpose?
98.
I can't believe you.
98, maybe.
What?
Maybe in 98.
You're insane. All right. Well,
I don't believe in accidents that big. You maybe spell it killa, or kilt, or killed, but not killing the kike. You kidding me? Oh, I was going to write nothing, but I wrote inner. You know, like, it's too big, dude. Like,
I don't know. It doesn't seem that big. They share 3 letters.
I don't know. You must have an investment in this. This is so obviously.
What's my investment?
You must like have a. This must be your friend that wrote.
The I'm friends with the penciler, the letterer,
inker, or the writer,
the letterer, the inker, and the editor.
I don't fucking know who it is, but you're acting like you have some invested interest in this, and it's bullshit. It's so.
I just find it really weird that you think that they purposefully wanted to write kike.
Yes.
Why would they do that? Why would they want to do that?
I bet whoever was in charge of it had some kind of like anti-Semitic bug up his ass. And
I really doubt it.
Sincerely. It may have been a crime of passion. I'm not saying it wasn't that. Yeah, let's move on to the next thing. I have a game.
Can we just do the game and then that's it?
Yeah, this will be real quick.
All right.
We get to keep arguing about that. That was funny, but anyway. So I found this interesting concept called the Deviancy Amplification Spiral.
Mm-hmm.
Also called the Deviance Amplification. It's a media hype phenomenon defined by media critics as a cycling of increasing reports on a category of antisocial behavior or some undesirable event that leads to a moral panic. So the process of deviancy amplification was first described by Leslie T. Wilkins. Stanley Cohen adopted this theory in Folk Devils and Moral Panics and applied it to a case scenario of the Mods and Rockers, in which he identified the concept of a deviancy amplification spiral. According to Cohen, the spiral starts with some deviant act. Usually the deviance is criminal, but can also involve some lawful acts considered morally repugnant by a large segment of society. With the new focus on the issue, hidden or borderline examples that would not themselves have been newsworthy are reported, confirming the pattern. Reported cases of such deviance are often presented as just the ones we know about, or the tip of the iceberg. an assertion that is nearly impossible to disprove immediately. For a variety of reasons, the less sensational aspects of the spiraling story that would help the public keep a rational perspective, such as statistics showing that the behavior or event is actually less common or less harmful than generally believed, tend to be ignored by the press. As a result, minor problems begin to look serious and rare events begin to seem common. Members of the public are motivated to keep informed on these events, leading to high readership for the stories feeding the spiral. I'm thinking about that. Even like the clown, those creepy clowns out here.
Yeah.
The resulting public has the potential to increase the deviant behavior by glamorizing it or making it seem commonplace or acceptable. In the next stage, public concern typically forces the police and law enforcement to focus on more resources on dealing with a specific deviancy than it warrants. Judges and magistrates then come under public pressure to deal out harsher sentences, and politicians pass new laws to increase their popularity by giving the impression they are dealing with a perceived threat. The responses by those in authority tend to reinforce the public's fear, while the media continue to report police and other law enforcement activity, amplifying the spiral. The theory does not contend that moral panics always include the deviancy amplification spiral. Eileen Barker asserts the controversy surrounding certain new religious movements can turn violent in the deviancy amplification spiral. In his autobiography, Lincoln Steffens details how news reporting can be used to create the impression of a crime wave when there is none. In a chapter, I Make a Crime Wave. So you get the idea of this?
Yes.
So let's come up with something.
What?
I've seen dudes in cowboy hats pissing everywhere.
Oh, that's the game?
Yeah.
Why don't you come up with something and I'll rate them?
Alright. If you have one, just throw it out. So, like, the idea is it's like a thing that's illegal and criminal.
Uh-huh.
Usually the deviance is criminal, but it also can involve lawful acts that are just considered morally repugnant.
Guys in red sweaters public masturbating.
The Ken Bone Society. The red sweat, the Reds. You know?
An increase in swastika bumper stickers.
Is that? Yeah, I mean,
I just made it up. I don't know if you've seen a bunch of those.
I don't know. I don't think that's. I mean, I feel like you get pretty quickly. This depends. Considered morally repugnant. I'm saying, but like, in certain hate symbols, like you get in, like, I guess it's not like fucking Germany. You won't get arrested if you walk around with swastika in America.
No, you can't get arrested.
Lawful acts that are morally repugnant.
What the hell are you doing?
Someone's revving up their dirt bike.
Jesus Christ, it was loud.
What do you expect, dude? I'm a hillbilly. I was rurally purged.
Yeah. You gotta purge those rural neighbors of yours. It sounded like a chainsaw.
Nah, that guy, dude, man, they're always revving up.
Yeah, well.
So, like, how about this? Like, it's a criminal act, so it's robberies by people wearing what is it? What's like the clothes that aren't made by like fucked up labor? It's like called free trade.
I don't understand what you're asking me.
Like a free, like good. What is it like when you like guilt-free T-shirts?
You mean fair trade?
Fair trade, yeah.
Oh well, fair trade's largely just like a marketing term, but
what's like morally repugnant though? Like,
sweatshop.
Or like sweatshops are morally repugnant.
Sweatshop clothing. Sweatshop merchandise.
Like, I don't know, but like, what's the way you would show that? Like a shirt or something? Like,
I don't know. I don't know if you could show it. Really, it's generally not very, readily apparent.
There's been an attack on local men by men wearing shirts for men's rights activism. Or like, you heard of men going their own way? I was looking into that shit recently.
No, I have not.
Or like, I'm trying to think of morally repugnant things. Like, there's been an attack by a number of self-identified masturbators or something.
Yeah.
Masturbation crime spree.
I guess that would be pretty. That would be illegal. It'd have to be like.
No, but
trying to think of,
they commit a crime, but they're self-identified masturbators. They're not masturbating.
It's not a thing that's legal but morally repugnant. That would be like a crime still if they're committing crimes.
Well, like, yeah, they're breaking into stores, but like, dude, you don't get it. You don't jerk off like I do. Like, they're just really open masturbators or something. I'm trying to think of like what's like a morally repugnant thing you could wear on your sleeve, though. Like
a swastika.
Other than a swastika, it's too easy.
I don't know, a picture of fecal matter.
the shit crime wave, right? The shit.
Yeah,
boys.
but then that's just like a gang almost. That's not
even morally repugnant. It's not morally repugnant.
Well, it's gross, and it's to if the design is to gross out people.
Well, maybe it's like you wear if you're like an elitist, you wear too many expensive clothes, too much hairspray. You're like really overdone.
I don't think that's morally repugnant.
It's like a morally repugnant like look.
I don't think that would qualify at all.
Who's the last person you saw just by how they looked was morally repugnant?
I don't think I have.
I was trying to think too, like
unless it was someone who was, like
fur collar and like
that's not morally repugnant though. I don't know why you think that's morally repugnant to wear like
I'm trying to get started though. Like it's like they've had like massive surgery and a huge full fur collar and like a briefcase. I don't even know. Like
I don't. Yeah, that just sounds like an eccentric almost.
Yeah, I know. I wouldn't even hate that person if I saw them. Like, or consider I would be attracted to them. I don't know. Like, that's a tough one.
It would have to be something that people find offensive, but is not illegal.
Well, what's like
if you're going for one that's like just a morally repugnant thing, it would have to be a swastika. It would have to be like a guy wearing a shirt that says women's place is in the kitchen, something like that.
Yeah. It'd have to be openly or lawful acts that are considered morally repugnant. So I guess it could be acts.
Well, that is an act. It would be wearing those articles of clothing in public.
No, but I guess this is like how they could relate it to like Satanists. It's because it's like, oh, they killed somebody and we found an altar. So it's not just look. It could be something you leave. It could be something.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I guess the morally repugnant act would be in your front yard holding a satanic ritual.
Yeah, so I mugged you, but not only there was me and my buddies all mugged a bunch of people this week, and we all had on our devil t-shirt. It's giving you more reason to hate something that's legal, to cause shit to pass, laws to pass. It's supposed to cause a hysteria.
Yeah, but you don't need the morally repugnant thing. If it's guys wearing red sweaters,
I know
that's not morally repugnant. But if a bunch of guys wearing red sweaters went around, stabbing people, you could imagine that laws would be passed that banned red sweaters.
No, this is what I think I got one. It's like a bunch of guys. This is the story you sell. It's like a bunch of men were masturbating together in a jerk-off party because they love pornography, and they got so excited they went out and started stabbing women. Like that's like a, you know what I'm saying? You keep reporting it like masturbation party turns into violence. You know what I'm saying? Like,
so what is it outlaw? Masturbation parties?
yeah. Well, it's right. It's like it starts to crack down on porn and stuff. Like it starts.
I don't think it has to be. I don't think it has to be those. I don't think it has to be a morally repugnant legal act and a crime. I think it could be.
Then, but you know what I'm saying though? They'd be like, God, this masturbation's a problem. Like, look what's going on. You know what I mean? You turn something that's not a problem into a problem. But
the red sweater thing holds up. Wearing a red sweater and stabbing people. Red sweaters aren't a problem. But if a bunch of people who wore red sweaters started stabbing people, it could be looked at as, oh, those red sweaters are a problem.
Yeah. And you could tie it into like gang shit as well.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's like it's like gang. That's what I'm saying. Like a bunch of guys in top hats have been, stealing chips. You know, it's like suddenly a dude in a top hat, you're gonna bust his face in if you're like on a bodega or something. You know what I mean? Like, like people don't normally wear top hats. It's kind of repugnant, actually.
No, it's not repugnant. It's not morally repugnant.
Well, not morally, yeah.
No, and it's not even repugnant.
I mean, like dirty top hats. That's not what the top hat was made for.
Well, then wouldn't it just be more of wearing dirty clothes out in public?
Yeah.
I guess that could be a thing. Wearing
like
really
extensively shitty clothes. Yeah.
Wearing clothes that were like smelling really badly.
The stinky rudes.
That was the thing when I worked at the thrift store. There was a homeless guy who refused to live in a shelter. He would always live in the park.
Yeah.
And in the summer, he smelled horrible.
You see, that would be kind of interesting. Like, reports are coming in from Oakland and Portland that a bunch of young kids that seem to have jobs but smell very bad are causing trouble. Like, you know, they're committing crimes. You know, they're disrupting public peace, and they all smell terrible. Like, that could be a thing.
It could then be like smelling bad. I don't think they would do that though. Smelling bad is outlawed.
But it's like that's like if you come to a place too stinky, how do we know you're not in the stinky gang? Like, you know, kind of a thing. Like,
well, I feel like if you are too stinky and you come to a place, they'll just ask you to leave anyway, regardless of whether or not you're in a gang.
Well, but it's like gang colors aren't allowed. You know what I mean? It's like if you come to this place wearing Bloods and Crips or being in the stinky gang, no access. Like, kind of.
All right, well,
that didn't go as well as I thought, but you got what I was trying to do, though.
Yeah,
it's a fun one. Maybe we could try another.
More like a thought exercise than anything, than a game.
This was kind of a throwaway one, but maybe it took a little more.
Don't say that in the episode.
No, but like, you know, we want to do a short show. You know, I thought it'd be a cute one.
We're at an hour and a half.
Yeah, we're good.
I gotta go.
I hope you feel better, man. I felt terrible recently.
All right.
Peace, man.
All right. Well, I'll sign off then.
Yeah.
All right. This has been another excellent episode of the Wikifiends. So have a good night.
Yeah.
Bye.